Who doesn't love spending a relaxing day at the beach? Calm surf, warm sun, maybe a cool breeze and a cold drink. I know.
Absolutely.
And as residents of Delmarva know, there are few things that can top these destinations that we're so fortunate enough to enjoy.
But one thing that can detract from this experience is the sad fact that people litter. Our beaches sometimes end up being the home for the trash that visitors leave behind.
Which is why it is important to demonstrate how important it is to care for our environment. Helping us elaborate on this idea is Mackenzie Kaiser. She is a second grade teacher at Shout Elementary School. She's also, let's just call it co-author of a new book. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
So before we get into everything, can you kind of elaborate on your relationship with the beach, your background, if you will?
Yeah, so I grew up in Ocean City and spent the majority of my life on the beach. I started surfing when I was 11 years old, and I'd say that was the moment that I've now carried with me forever. Just the surfing, being on the beach, you know.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's a huge part of my life.
Well, there you go. Before we get to the book, talk about how this was a pretty long-winded project.
Yeah, it was. It actually started 3 years ago, which is amazing to think about. You know, that was when we were home virtually learning due to COVID. So it's wild to think back that it started 3 years ago.
You know, you mentioned surfing, and you're, I guess, friends with professional surfer Kelly Slater. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I guess we could say we're friends now. 3 years ago, I didn't even know him. You know, we were at home virtually learning, and it was a really tough time for the students, for the teachers, for the parents. I mean, everybody, as we remember. So I was just trying to find a way to engage my students virtually. So we were going into our biography unit, and I thought it'd be really cool to try to get one of my heroes on Zoom with the kids and somebody that could be relatable to the students. So I reached out to professional surfer Kelly Slater, and if you're not familiar with Kelly Slater, I mean, he is going to go down in history as the greatest of all time. You know, he's won 11 world titles. He is amazing. So I never thought he would even see my message, let alone answer. And I Instagram messaged him, and he answered, said he would love to get on Zoom with my class. And yeah, it was amazing.
That's
great.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he has over 3 million followers. So the fact that he, you know, answered, he said later he did because his mom grew up in Maryland. So Ocean City meant a lot to him.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Not a lot of
Makes
people
sense.
knew that.
That makes, now everything starts to piece together. How did you get your students involved in helping with this project?
So while we were on Zoom with Kelly, he spent a lot of time talking about traveling the world and the amount of pollution he sees in the oceans, to the point where, I mean, he'll be paddling and just getting handfuls of trash, which was just blew the kids' minds. I mean, they were 7 at the time, and that was just wild to think about. So I reached out to OC Surf Club, and they have the Adopt a Beach program. So I adopted 15th Street in my class's name, and they were taking turns going and cleaning it.
That's awesome.
All right, and then you have this book. It's called Keep Our Beaches Clean.
Here's
there
the book,
you go.
everybody.
How did you get your students involved in this?
Well, so we kept cleaning the beaches. You know, they had a lot of momentum around that. So I reached back out to Kelly and said, look what you did. I mean, these kids are never going to walk past another piece of trash. And he said, why don't you write a class book and read it to me? I never thought it would become a published book. You know, we write class books all the time.
Yeah.
So we did, and we read it to him, and he loved it so much. He loved the message, and he said he wanted to publish it. So he found the publisher, D'Angelo Publications. They have been incredible to work with. They fully funded the book. All the
That's awesome.
proceeds will go to the Kelly Slater Foundation, and you know, they have just been amazing to work with.
That's very
That's
cool.
incredible.
Why do you think it's crucial to develop a relationship between your kids that you're teaching and the environment?
You know, it's our job as educators to empower these kids, to let them know that they can make a difference. And I think that this book shows that. You know, Kelly, D'Angelo Publications, myself, now these kids have a voice, and it's going to be read around the world. It's going to be sold worldwide. And, you know, kids are sponges. So if
Right.
we expose them to these things at a young age, it's going to stick with them for life. Like I said before, I don't think they'll ever walk past a piece of trash.
That's very true.
So where can we get a hold of the book?
So it is for sale. It's up for pre-order right now on D'Angelo Publications' website. It's dapbooks.com. It's also going to be sold locally in a majority of shops. Right now, I know Malibu Surf Shop has it, K-Coast, Heart of Gold, and the Buzzed Word.
That's amazing.
Very cool.
I love the story of how this all just came together so
Right.
organically. Wonderful.
Love it.
Mackenzie Kaiser, thank you so much for coming
Thank
in.
you, Mackenzie.
Thank you for having me.
Stick around. DelmarvaLife will be right back.